5, 4, 3, 2.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to Live Zone Primetime.
Yeah,
I'm
baby.
Chad Ricardo, and today for producer Chris, and as always, the incomparable Tony P.
Hey,
is
this
in
is an
the
honor to
building.
be in this man's presence.
Well,
I'll tell
Tony,
you, I
it
am
is
so excited, man.
a new year, 2026.
Yes.
How'd you enjoy the time off?
I'll
brother?
tell you, I was home for a little bit, and
Yeah.
then I did the opposite of what I usually do. I stayed in for 4 or 5 days, and I rotted, literally. You can see it. I'm kind of like disintegrating
Yeah.
before your eyes a little bit. I had a lot of, lotion helps out
Sure.
with the makeup. But I watched Stranger Things.
Stranger
And I
Things.
never seen it, 10 years, never watched it. My girlfriend said, hey, just watch this. Look at the description. And I came on, and I watched it for 4 days straight. All 4 seasons.
Yes.
I have one more to go with season 5. But I watched it all, and I loved it.
You loved it?
It's got the 80s, which I wish I was born in the 80s. I wish I was an 80s kid.
I'm an 80s baby.
Right. So
there we go. Yes.
Okay, like you got to see the inner workings of what the 80s looked like.
Sure.
From the malls to the houses. There was even like the right political signs on at the time
Really?
as it takes place in 84.
Yeah.
So it did all the stuff with the 80s mantra, the music, the soundtrack.
Gotcha.
Was out of this world.
Wow.
And then like the acting was great. It is truly the Sopranos of my generation.
Really?
Where the Sopranos like uplifted the mafia genre
Yes.
and made it universal, right?
Gotcha.
That's the whole point of why Sopranos is so big. But with this, it took dragons and demons and dungeons and all that, and sci-fi, and lifted it beyond a niche. Everybody and their mother saw
Get
the
outta here.
series. And I think you're going to see this for years to come. All the stars are going to do great things after this, but they have made an impact on many generations with
Wow.
this. What a great show.
Wow.
I mean,
Tony,
and I'm not getting paid to say that, by the way.
No, not at all.
But-
I think that this is so outstanding. I got to be honest with you and all of the viewers.
What a
I
energy.
have never seen one episode
Not
of
one.
Not one. In fact,
Okay, my friend.
some 2 years ago, I was on one of our great shows here at Fox 5. I was on Lion Lunch Hour.
Okay.
Every day, 11 a.m.,
Yes,
Monday through
great
Friday.
show, by
I
the
was
way.
on that show, and we did a story
Yeah.
on Millie Bobby Brown. And I thought to myself, I said, Bobby and Whitney had another daughter? Bobby and Whitney had
That's-
another daughter named Millie Bobby Brown.
It's so
Who
fu-
is this Millie Bobby
That's
Brown
what
person?
I thought it was like a granddaughter, maybe or something like they were a cousin.
Sure.
It's kind of what I thought, right? And then realized, oh no, I thought, what Bobby Christina, she's still alive.
Yes.
Maybe I missed history, but
Sure.
no, it's a different actress
It's
completely.
clearly a
And
very
I
different
was the same way
actress.
back then. I didn't even know who she was until
Sure.
literally 3-4 days ago.
Wow. All right.
And Chad, if I, as your co-host,
That's right.
I would say to you this. Just give it the first episode.
Give
Just give
it
it
the
one
first-
chance.
okay.
That's what I said to myself. I read
Yes.
the description, said I like this.
Yeah.
And then I'm just hooked, and I got
Okay.
hooked for the entire, and it just kept getting bad and worse and
Wow.
worse. I'm like, I wanted more.
Got you. Okay, well, as an 80s baby, as
You
you
love it.
prescribe, I will check out Stranger Things, and
Yes.
after I come back, I will say it's because Tony P told me to do
listen,
so.
listen,
All
you will
right.
not be disappointed, my friend. I'll tell you, that's my gift to you for the new year. But how was yours, man? Anything special? Any?
New Year was
any cool
great.
things?
New Year was
Relax
great.
a little bit?
I worked. I did a lot of work right here at Fox
Yes, he
5
did.
and servicing and serving the community, which is what it is that I'm here for, but was
Some
also
big
able
moments.
to spend some time with my beautiful wife at home, with my son Kobe, and my mother and my bonus dad as well. So I had everything that I could ask for all throughout the new year.
I
was
love the
thankful.
phrase bonus dad. See, I have a stepdad, and he's
Yeah.
wonderful. I always use the word stepdad, but bonus dad.
Bonus
and I
dad.
have a step grandfather. Call him bonus
Sure.
grandpa.
Bonus, yeah.
I love that. That's so cool that you did that, and also you crushed it doing
Thank
the
you,
anchor in the
man.
news at 4:30 in
Yeah.
the morning
Yeah,
over the
yeah,
weekend,
yeah.
covering some big
Yeah.
stuff. And
No.
I'll tell you, man, you're just incredible. So I'm
Hey,
honored to be here with you.
That was an absolute blessing on Saturday, my first anchoring from the news desk.
Yes.
That was something that was, you know what it was, Tony? It was very fulfilling. It was more
great word.
fulfilling to be able to take these major events that are going on in life and to give those to the community first before anyone else, and help to be able to educate the community on the things that they need to talk about.
You sure
So
did.
It was outstanding.
And you're outstanding at it, my friend. And I can't. We're going to educate or try to educate tonight.
Well, that's
We're
exactly
excited,
what
man.
we're going to do. We have a lot of fun things that we're going to talk
Yes.
about. That was a nice segue. A lot of
Thank
fun
you.
things that we're going to talk about. We've got a head coach basketball in Wakefield, Virginia with his 400th victory. We're going to talk about this flu outbreak and epidemic that's
I
going
know.
down in Northern Virginia. Weatherman Cesar did some working out at the St. James. We're going to see how he's getting down. But Tony, to that point, let's begin in Venezuela. The latest that we got going down is tonight there was gunfire heard near the Miraflores presidential palace in the capital city of Caracas. Video showed what appeared to be lights from drones and anti-aircraft fire. As Fox 5 receives more information on this, we will provide it. Of course, earlier, the ousted Venezuelan leader and his wife pleaded not guilty to drug and weapons charges in a New York courtroom. Maduro, who was captured in a U.S. military operation, told the judge that he had been kidnapped in Caracas. And additionally, Maduro ally Delcy Rodriguez was sworn in as the acting president, while U.S. President Donald Trump said that he considers himself in charge of the country. Trump taking things a step further, he also issued warnings to other countries saying he could take military action in Colombia and told Mexico to get in its act together. Now, White House officials are briefing congressional leaders on the Maduro raid, but the latest update is causing concern for some lawmakers. Our very own Tom Fitzgerald, my main man, is on the Hill tonight after speaking to one of those leaders. Let's take a listen.
We're talking about Virginia Senator Mark Warner now. In addition to being the Commonwealth Senator up here, he is also the Vice Chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee. That puts him into what's known as the Gang of Eight. That is an exclusive club of the very top members of the congressional delegation here, and they are the ones who normally get kind of a update and a heads up on military actions like this. That did not happen with Venezuela, and Warner said today he is not happy about that one bit. Now, we're told this briefing got underway within the last hour, including U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. Now, Fox 5 spoke with Maryland Republican Congressman Andy Harris, who was the leader of the Conservative Freedom Caucus. He said he didn't have any problem with Congress not being briefed on the military action before it began because they needed to maintain secrecy. However, Warner sees it differently and told Fox 5 today that when the U.S. sends troops into foreign countries, the White House cannot go it alone.
You wouldn't brief all 535. But that's what we set up the Gang of Eight. Marco Rubio was a member of the Gang of Eight. And when we didn't get briefed appropriately, sometimes under Biden, he was mad as hell.
This was the middle of the night action, just like it was when we took out Osama bin Laden. And interestingly enough, the Democrats supported that move on foreign soil. They don't support this move.
Now, in the wake of that military action, sporadic demonstrations popped up around D.C. over the weekend, both for and against the U.S. action to remove Nicolas Maduro from his presidency. Now, here at the White House today, things were a little more quiet. However, that debate still goes on between people who thought the administration was right in what it did and those who do not.
Something good to see that Trump did. Yeah, Trump saved Venezuela.
I feel like that wasn't the best way to approach the situation.
What he's doing is he's being a leader, and that's what a leader does.
It's a bad idea in the long run. It's bad for our country, bad for the world in the long run.
Meanwhile, here in the district, Mayor Muriel Bowser says local officials have been briefed by their federal law enforcement officials in order to assess any possible threats to the nation's capital.
Wow. First of all, just absolutely phenomenal reporting by our very own Tom Fitzgerald. Certainly not surprised about that. Now, Tony, what he brings up there is Congress going back and forth on the fact that they weren't made aware before this, I don't want to call it an attack, but going to get Maduro went down. People happy about that, others not so much. Your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a very sticky situation. Sure. So what happens is it basically is known as an extraction in military words. They extracted the leader.
Correct.
They had the helicopters go in there and take him. It wasn't a ground offensive. They weren't really. They weren't fighting a battle. It wasn't like the Bay of Pigs invasion for some of our older viewers that may have remembered what that was like in the 60s with the Bay of Pigs invasion. We did send troops on the ground there to try to take territory. That was not the case here. That was an extraction. Now, the debate about what Congress should have known. So Senator Warner was correct. They set up this gang of 8 a while back because you can't brief 535 people. It's going to break out and there's going to be some leaks, especially in the social media era.
And that is, during the presser on Saturday, that was one of the points that Marco Rubio and President Trump made, was that this needed to be something that happened at a particular time. They weren't sure even exactly when it could happen because it was dependent upon weather and everything else, so they couldn't run the risk of any word getting out.
Well, again, there was weather issues. That's why the order was ready in the morning, but it was delayed for about 5-6 hours by the president because they wanted to make sure that it was clear enough to fly the helicopters. And there was still injuries reported, and helicopters were shot at. So again, it's a very dicey mission to send our Delta troops. It was the Delta squad that went in there. They'd done things, for example, a lot of these type of extractions in the past. They've assisted with things like the Bin Laden raids. These are the best of the best.
That's right.
They have to be protected at the utmost. So that was one part of this, I feel. But there is this debate about the war powers. Okay, is this an act of war? And if that's the case, the constitutional order is to go before Congress to say, hey, we want money, we want authorization. That's what happened, especially during the during World War II. FDR went to the Congress. That also happened with Iraq post 9/11. President Bush went and asked for authorization powers. He got it, and that authorization was used past Iraq into other things like Afghanistan, Libya, all that stuff. And that has been a sore spot here in D.C. for Congress, where they gave this blanket power and wrote a blank check and gave away a lot of power. So there is some territorial dispute here between White House powers and congressional powers. So there's a political angle to this, but the biggest thing is, what does this mean for the region itself? Of course, Delcy Rodriguez sworn in, the vice president of Venezuela. At first, there was a lot of back and forth. She was very much against this and saying, hey, you kidnapped our president, bring him back. We're adversarial towards this. President Trump said, we're running the show now.
We're running the show.
And we're going to bring in basically a commission, a commission of people. There's Secretary Hegseth, Secretary Rubio. President Trump even talked about having Stephen Miller potentially being a part of this, I would say, triumvirate or commission, we'll call it. And that reminds people of Iraq. That reminds people of some of the stuff we did in Vietnam. And this whole war powers and American war fighting, that was a major part of the election in 2020 for a lot, especially young men who watch a lot of podcasts like Joe Rogan and others. They voted for President Trump because he said, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, they put you in all these wars with Ukraine and Israel, Gaza. I would have stopped all that. And I'm not going to have any new wars.
That's right.
A lot of people in his coalition, some of the more, I would say, kind of flaky voters, but voters that weren't with President Trump the first 2 times and then moved to him, that formed a big part of his coalition, are now thinking to themselves, are we going to go to war? What's next if he goes to Colombia?
Is this America first?
Yes, great point. And is it the slope? Is there a slippery slope that we're getting away from America first? What about our own country? What about taking care of ourselves? A major through line on social media that I read today and yesterday was that people were saying, a lot, especially on, I would say, the far right, the America First crowd, and some of the more, I would say, politically ambiguous crowd. We're saying, look, we can't even handle our own shores and handle our own issues when it comes to affordability, housing, and money. How the heck are we going to handle and take over another country? So that's a big thing that the president needs to watch out for. But Democrats need to be cautious here, Chad, because if they come off as not being, against a Maduro, who is a guy who literally stole an election, and the rightful successor has been in exile for for a couple of years now. It's been reported he cheated in 2 elections since 2013. And so this is not a very good person at all. It's a horrible human being that has corrupted elections and has hurt his people. So you don't want to be too much anti the Venezuelan freedom cause either. But you want to talk about process, but you might have to.
I think you bring up a great point, Tony, and I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to speak. I'm going to speak as a U.S. citizen, more so than a journalist. When I first read this story, it kind of took me, well, what are we doing? What are we doing? This is crazy. This is nuts. We're kidnapping another. And then I did some research, and I actually began to study the situation in that region. And more than that, I began to see the reaction of a lot of the people of Venezuela in the streets, not protesting, but cheering on the fact that Maduro had been taken down. I think that to the point of the war, one of the things that was addressed also by President Trump and Marco Rubio on Saturday, what they said was that, and this is what they said, so we're reporting the facts of what it is that they said. What they said was that in the extraction, that this was not actually an act of war, but it was an extraction. And so the military was there just to make it so that those that needed to extract and bring Maduro back to justice, that the military was basically escorting them in so that they could do their job, therefore not an act of war, therefore not needing the opinion of Congress. Your thoughts?
No, it's an interesting point. It's been used, and that argument has been used also with regards to the 1989 extraction by President H.W. Bush of Manuel Noriega on very similar charges. Now, some reports will say the evidence was clearer about the drug activities, that there was actually proof that he was doing business in the United States, conducting drug trafficking business. It's a little bit more murky here. The charges were a little bit more recent as well for President Maduro as opposed to President Manuel Noriega. However, it is a similar case. And when you look at the Osama bin Laden raid, there's some similarities there as well, where this was troops going into a foreign country. Back then it was Pakistan going in to take Osama bin Laden. Congress was not briefed, and same thing with Manuel Noriega. So this is there's a lot of similarities here, and I think both political camps are trying to position it in their own way because, we're living in silos now. There ain't much we agree on.
Not a lot.
However, there are legitimate fears, and not just from Democrats, but from folks, for example, like, Thomas Massie, Marjorie Taylor Greene, folks that supported President Trump 3 times and were in his coalition who are still Republicans that are saying, hey, this is not exactly America first. And so the line is going to be, does a move like this by President Trump fracture his base even more?
That's right.
Because what is the future of Republican politics beyond President Trump? That's still up for debate. But you said it before, the people of Venezuela have been living under the authoritarian rule of an absolute monster, President Maduro. That's not just calling balls, that's true. That's facts, that's reported, there's evidence behind it, it's not opinion. And so how do you balance those things out, right? The biggest thing we don't want to see is civil war or unrest that hurt more people in Venezuela and around the country.
And that's why it is important, the next individuals who are placed in charge there. I want to get your opinion on one more piece of this, and then we can move on.
Of course.
And that is the idea of the America First. I believe that if you were to ask President Trump his opinion on how this is America First, I believe that he would point to the idea of the oil.
Right.
The oil that is there. And if you've heard President Trump talk about this and all of the facts, we will continue to get those for you. Right. But he spoke to the oil embargo that has been on Venezuela. He spoke to the fact that he said that there is wealth in the land there in Venezuela, and that U.S. oil companies will put billions of dollars into that oil company, that oil, of extracting that oil to give back to the people of Venezuela, as well as, and he said, to people who live in America who have rights to that money as well, and they will sell that oil also. So is there a portion of this that is America First from the idea of having access to the oil?
True. Now, here's the thing about the PR side of this.
Yes.
President Trump, for the last, I think even since he came into office, the last few months as well, has talked about, well, this is about drugs and narco trafficking.
That's right. Come on.
And of course, there was the blowing up of boats in the area. There's the allegations of saying this is what's going on. President Maduro is orchestrating this. That's why we're bombing the boats. There's narco terrorists out there. Maduro is supporting all this from his perch as a president. And then there's a shift to oil.
Sure.
So there wasn't really the oil conversation in the months leading up to it.
That's right.
So the blowing up of the boats, was it about oil?
Yes.
Or was it about narco terrorism? So, and this kind of goes back to some of the Epstein file stuff. Like, a lot of the PR has shifted from the president. I think that's going to hurt him as he tries to make this case. Well, is it really about oil? Because don't forget, President Trump took $1 billion, nearly, again, I don't have the exact numbers, but nearly about $1 billion in his campaigns from big oil. And there's reports saying he said, hey, give me the money and I'll do what you want, basically. So is this about America first, or is it about making sure American corporations
There we
first?
go.
And the thing about his coalition is that you have a lot of people that are anti-corporation in President Trump's coalition.
Sure.
More on the left and more on the right. So, and that's a big thing that's unified both sides of the aisle recently, has been the anti-corruption, sort of big pharma, big oil type of thing. And here's a final thing logistically. The oil in Venezuela, yes, is one of the largest oil reserves in the world. The problem is the oil reserves are in a different part of the country compared to the refineries.
Wow.
And you have to go through a lot of different terrains and climates and some potential destabilizing things. With the military, we don't know what the military is looking like down there in Venezuela. You look at Chevron, Exxon, all these companies. It's going to be hard for them to do this on a tight timeline.
That's right.
Especially with what is the regime now? Because you can't really say it for folks who are against this. You can't say it's regime change because the regime's still in there. The vice president is the same vice president under Maduro. Now, there was a duly elected, well, not duly elected, but a declared duly elected leader. Again, there's reports that President Maduro stole the election.
Sure.
So that leader was basically kind of just like cut out of the equation by President Trump in the press conference. No, we're not really going to support her. She doesn't have the pull of the people. She's sort of a weak leader. We're not going to endorse her. So you can't really make the democracy argument or the drug argument for protection of American citizens because now it's shifted so quickly to oil.
Wow.
So again, this is not an opinion. This is kind of just some of the strategy that the president is using, that if he wants to really get this to America first, you have to talk about the threat to the homeland, because then that makes the act even more, I would say, legitimate.
I tell you what, this is a continuously developing story, and you will have the most and the latest right here on Fox 5 and right here on Fox Local. We're going to take a 2-minute break, but when we get back, Tony, we're going to talk about this flu outbreak that's going down in Northern Virginia. We'll be back. Welcome back to Live Zone Primetime. Now, it's time for a lot of things. We just got out of the holiday season, just got through the new year, and it is also flu season. A lot of individuals are catching the bug. In fact, in Northern Virginia, those rates are flying off of the charts. We had our very own Marissa Mitchell, who spoke with the doctor about the dangers of the new Superflu. Here's Marissa.
Nasty flu season is sweeping all over the country, and some doctors are calling it a super flu. In fact, flu-related emergency room visits in Northern Virginia have tripled. The Commonwealth's Department of Health says that's the case for 2 reporting periods, the week ending December 13th and the one ending the 27th, with the latter saying 1,800 reported flu cases. So we have a health official here with us right now, Dr. Amos Shadalja. Thank you so much for joining us here. What is making this strain so severe and contagious compared to those in previous years?
What happened is the virus has mutated, just like all respiratory viruses do. And the current dominant version of flu infecting people has enough changes that the vaccine isn't providing robust protection against infection, and the population doesn't have immunity to this particular strain. So it's spreading very rapidly through the population because the population is very susceptible to it.
Is it too late to get the flu shot?
No, it's not too late to get the flu vaccine. And even though it might not protect you against infection, it will protect you against severe disease, hospitalization, and death. And it also contains 2 other strains of flu in it, which might become issues later in the season. And the flu season is still not peaked. Usually, traditionally peaks in February. So a flu vaccine now still may have benefit for you through the rest of this season, especially with protection against severe disease.
Are you seeing the flu, I guess, more severe in more cases in certain parts of the country compared to others?
Well, the whole country is not on the exact same time scale. So certain states, for example, have very high activity, like in the Northeast. There are certain states that have low activity, like Montana, for example. So it all depends upon where you are and what the local epidemiology may be. But overall, this looks to be a moderate to severe season. It's not one for the record books, but it is a severe enough season that it's causing a lot of disruption.
Finally, I want you to detail ways that we can all protect ourselves. I know I've noticed more people wearing masks as of late. Would you recommend that as well?
So for people that are high risk and are really trying to avoid the flu, a mask may provide benefit when people are in crowded, congregated indoor environments. The other things people can do is make sure they get their flu vaccine. There are home tests for influenza. You can test yourself at home to know if you've got flu, and that can link you to an antiviral like Tamiflu or Xofluza. And if you are sick, you should stay home, at least during that acute phase when you have fevers, because you are contagious to others.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I wish we had more time, but I think you hit all of the very important parts to keep us safe. We appreciate it, Dr. Adalja. Take care. Nasty flu.
Shout out to Marissa Mitchell. It's an outstanding interview. Shout out to the doctor. Flu 3 times the normal rate. Some 18,000 individuals with the new, now they're calling it the Superflu, Tony P.
You know, I'm not clamming up right now. Just thinking about them, seeing some of the videos. Oh my God, I don't like the runny nose or any of that. But what's really interesting about this story is we're in a different environment than we were a year ago, the flu season, where there's a lot more of, I'd say, an anti-vaccine sentiment and aura in the country. And could this be linked potentially to, lessened, rates of vaccination? Again, I'm not a doctor, but those are things that I think about. Okay, are people getting less vaccinations? Are they more contagious? Or is it this thing is just mutating? I mean, I hear a superflu. That does not sound good at all. That just sounds like an extra level of just misery and pain. Now, when looking at, I think, for the future of this, where we're trying to protect ourselves, I think a lot of people still have like that even 5 years, like COVID, kind of like we're still thinking about.
100%.
I was hearing that interview. I was flashed back to 2020, hearing about mutations and respiratory, and it's just it still scares people a lot. And I think there's a lot of fatigue in the country from the COVID era, and I think this is maybe a part of it.
I think that you make a great point. I believe that there is a ton of fatigue coming back from the COVID area, and so. Shout out to the doc. When I hear the doctor, number one, wash your hands. I'm going to wash my hands. 100%. Tony, I'm going to wash my hands, sing happy birthday while I wash my hands. I tell you what, and I also, if I begin to feel sick, I will not come to work and run the rate of infecting others. Tony, I'm not going back to wearing a mask, though, bro. I'm not telling anyone that that's what you should or should not do. Let me make that clear. Yes. But for me personally, in my life, I'm not going back to wearing a mask indoors.
Yeah, that was very fatigued for 2020. Yeah, I mean, I remember wearing those for I'd say a year and a half, 2 years. And again, people just, I think we learned from COVID, they don't be told what to do. They don't be told, hey, here's some things you can do. Just keep yourself safe, keep others safe around you. That's all you can do. Now, the biggest thing is that this is not just for Virginia. We saw this before the holidays. I think it was Chris and I, we covered it before the holiday, where rates were spiking right at the holidays.
Sure.
So how long is this going to be? Is it going to be, plus we haven't even peaked yet, according to the doctor?
Have not peaked until February.
Could it get even worse is the question. Now, what does that mean for hospitalizations in the area for Virginia and Maryland, where we saw in some of the counties there's a lessened amount of hospital capacity for the amount of residents. So again, this is not, I'm not predicting anything, but is that going to become an issue where, if things become a little bit larger for hospitalizations, could that be an issue? I don't think it's going to be an issue, but these are just things we have to think about for public health reasons when these things happen. And the question is, how do we fight it? Is it better drugs? Is it better vaccines? Now, these companies, are they going to be willing to make these type of medications and vaccines being in an environment where the FDA and the CDC and the American public is not exactly 100% warm on this stuff?
Yeah. And we hear there from the doctor, he does recommend that it is not too late to get vaccinated if that is a choice that you want to make, although the vaccine may not prevent catching the flu. It could help with preventing the flu from getting at its worser level. Certainly for those that are at risk, the elderly as well. And if you want to wear a mask, by all means, wear a mask. Chad Ricardo just
that's understandable. I remember I had the KN95 ones.
Yeah,
those ones are pretty strong. I mean, then we started decorating them. Like, that was kind of nice.
The two mask or a mask with the pull up over top of it, bro. You're looking like a ninja out here, Tony.
It was like. Boy. I mean, it got really intense.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I think people, you know, people don't want to be told what to do. They want to be able to make their own decisions. And I think we can balance that. Yeah. Make your own decisions, but also make sure you don't hurt people. So don't go to work, don't go to school if you're really sick. Like, put yourself out of commission. It's all right. You can go to Zoom if you need to.
That's right. All right. So those are our topics right now, Tony. I know that you always bring in a gaggle of outstanding topics as well. And
I do.
We may even kind of cross over from that flu story as we move on as well.
Yes.
What do you got?
You know, it's a perfect segue, my friend. The chemistry's already just lighting up here.
Come on now.
I can feel it. It's the heat. I don't have a fever, I promise you. But we're going to start with the CDC. So the CDC officially today is implementing changes to the childhood vaccine schedule following HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s recommendations and President Trump's authorization. The new recommendations announced today and taking place delay several routine vaccines and space them out over a longer timeline for children. The MMR vaccine will now be recommended at 15 months instead of 12, and the hepatitis B birth dose is no longer universally recommended. The changes align more closely with Denmark's schedule, where Secretary Kennedy is cited as a model. The American Academy of Pediatrics strongly opposed the changes back in December and opposes them today as well, warning they could leave children vulnerable to preventable diseases during critical development periods. Public health experts also expressed concern that the modifications lack the scientific justification needed and could lead to disease outbreaks. In the world of politics, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz announced today he will not seek re-election for a third term after initially announcing he would do so. Walz, the 2024 Democratic vice presidential nominee, said he cannot give a full political campaign his attention while dealing with, of course, the fraud allegations and situation that has plagued Minnesota at the moment. Every minute I spend defending my own political interests would be the minute I can't spend defending the people of Minnesota, unquote, from Governor Walz. The announcement comes, of course, amid heightened scrutiny over the Feeding Our Future scandal, where 57 defendants were convicted in a $250 million COVID-19 fraud scheme. Federal prosecutors have alleged billions in federal funds may have been stolen from Minnesota programs since 2018. President Trump has repeatedly criticized Walz's administration, and the Trump administration has frozen federal child care payments to Minnesota in the meantime. Now, just political news as well. Senator Amy Klobuchar is now reportedly considering a bid for Walz's seat. In the world of business, luxury retailer Saks Fifth Avenue is reportedly considering bankruptcy protection as it struggles with declining sales and mounting debt. It just recently missed a $100 million debt payment. According to JCK, the iconic department store chain has hired restructuring advisors to explore options, including a Chapter 11 filing. Saks has faced challenges from changing consumer shopping habits, increased competition from online retailers, and the impact of President Trump's tariffs on imported luxury goods. The company currently operates 40 stores nationwide and employs around 12,000 people. No final decision has been made, and Saks has declined to comment officially on these reports. In the world of entertainment, Timothée Chalamet thanked girlfriend Kylie Jenner last night during his acceptance speech at the Critics' Choice Awards, calling her "my love" and his foundation as he accepted the award for Best Actor for his role in Marty Supreme. He's also on the list for Oscar contention. Will it be his year? Who knows, my friends? The couple has been dating for about 3 years now. We're seated together at the ceremony. Chalamet's acknowledgement of Kylie Jenner marked a rare public display from the notoriously private pair. In other Critics' Choice news, the limited series Adolescence won a bunch of awards last night at the Critics' Choice Awards, including for Best Limited Series. The coming-of-age drama about teenagers navigating mental health challenges and masculinity beat out strong competition, including Ripley and Baby Reindeer. Now, that's, I'll tell you, an incredible series. If you haven't watched it, go out there and watch it, especially for kids out there. And finally, some promising medical news as we get a little bit of a bookends here for us, Chad. Researchers have developed an anti-aging drug that successfully regrew knee cartilage in clinical trials, potentially eliminating the need for knee replacement surgery. All the grandmas, grandpas out there, middle-aged people, this is for you. The drug, which targets senescent cells that accumulate with age, showed significant cartilage regeneration in 78% of patients after 6 months of treatment. Participants reported reduced pain and improved mobility, and the breakthrough could transform treatment for osteoarthritis, which affects over 32 million Americans. Researchers plan to begin larger phase 3 trials next year with hopes the drug could be available by 2028. I'll be 30, so I won't be going to need it yet.
You may not.
But
you may not need it yet.
This is some incredible stuff, and I tell you, like, I love good news. Is where I get some of these headlines from.
That's right.
You need a little good news in your life, and I'll tell you, this is some good stuff. And I'll tell you, all the elderly people in my life, aunts, uncles, they go, my knee, my sciatic,
That's
my
right.
back.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice to eliminate that from the lexicon? Not have to hear that at the holidays next couple years.
Yeah.
Oh, my knees hurt. No, get the pill. I'm feeling good now.
No, we'll get that. And again, to the point of your story, it is the avoiding the surgery aspect of things. I think that is such a big deal. I mean, for the most part, no matter how healthy you are, no matter how much you work out, and so those joints, bro, they're gonna catch up with you eventually.
Oh, yeah.
I know that myself and producer Jim here, a couple of pretty in shape guys. I'm dealing with some sciatic nerve pain right now. But
oh my God.
My wife is a wonderful medical provider. She takes care of me, and she said, I don't care what anybody says to you, you're not getting surgery on anything to do with your back, because once you get one surgery, oftentimes that begins to lead into more and more surgeries.
And
so when you can do these things to prevent going under the knife, I think that it's a great thing.
Oh, it's the best, especially a lot of men. So a lot of men who deal with knee problems, they have prostate issues. They don't want to go under the knife because of complications that can come from that. And that's why a lot of men don't go to the doctor, and it really is hurting, especially younger men and I would say middle-aged generation of guys. So if anything can help this and make it one less hurdle, I love this. You also have the potential hair restoration pills market.
Yes.
Which no more need for Rogaine. All these things are happening. Like there are some big things happening.
No more need for comb overs.
I mean, in the world of, like, I'd say cosmetic and mobility, we may have some developments here, Chad. So I think as we get into these years ahead, there's the anti-aging stuff that's going on. We have the GLP stuff with, whether it be Wegovy or Mounjaro, for weight loss. Like, we now have pills that can fix a lot of stuff. However, we got to be careful, make sure exercise is important.
Listen,
and all that
if
stuff.
you want to keep it off, Tony,
you
can
work
lose
it off.
But if you want to keep it off, it's a lifestyle change, brother. But
you know what's funny? I was watching old commercials over the holiday season. I like to watch 80s and 90s era commercials.
You're in love with the 80s. That's if I
don't
take
judge me, America.
Away,
Don't judge me, DC. I'm kind of a weird duck. But one of them I watched. Remember the old Wilford Brimley commercials for diabetes, the Liberty Retirement Health. I have diabetes. It's like that's kind of what I'm thinking about. Like, no more knee pain, no more life alert. There are some things that could be going on here. We don't need any more Wilford Brimley commercials.
Well, it's just so that people can get the visual of Wilfred out of their mind. Talk to me about Timothy Chalamet. I want to know, Tony P.
That's a shift.
An official. I know that you have a significant other, but as an official bachelor, still out here in the streets of Washington D.C., your thoughts on publicly giving that love and that light to your partner. Love it or hate it.
I love it because they've been very, I think, strategic about it. Yeah, they haven't been totally private. They've been a pretty private couple. They haven't been all the social media. They haven't done a bunch of stuff on stage together. They haven't done a movie together yet, or a product launch, or things like that. They've kept it pretty, I would say, tight-knit. He hasn't been on any of the Kardashian programs or things like that. I love that, and that's why I love this particular moment, because Timothy Chalamet is coming to a moment in his career. He's 30 now. He has had some pretty close catches with the Oscar. He didn't win, and I think he should have won last year. But now he's on the cusp, and I think he's probably going to win for Marty Supreme. This might be the third time the charm for him. So he's building his foundation. He mentioned in the speech, like, the foundation we have built together is so special, and you're the reason why I'm moving so well, talking about Kylie Jenner. So I think that this is the right moment to do it, because he's building all those pieces. And what I love about Timothy Chalamet in general is that he is not afraid to express love for his people, for his mother. He brings his mother to all these things, talks about his upbringing and where he came from. And he also talks about the craft. We do a craft here with broadcasting.
100%.
And it's an art form, and so is acting. It's the hardest. It's the hardest form in a lot of ways. And he's out there talking about how much he loves it. He talks about how Tom Brady talks about football, right?
No, I love it.
And then he talks about he wants to be the best, and he said that at a bunch of award shows, including this one. He wants to be the best. He wants to win Oscars. He wants to be in the footsteps of people like Denzel Washington and Viola Davis and whether Paul Newman and the others and some of the bigger actors, right? He wants that, and he tells people that. People think it's arrogant. I think it's wonderful. He's confident, and he's a good guy. He seems like a really good guy, and so I root for this couple.
Yeah.
I hope they do well. You know, again, we have a lot of couples news. You know, we got Tom Brady and Alex Earl potentially. You know,
Yeah, well,
so we got a lot of couples news.
Tony, speaking of couple
I love
news,
love, man.
Speaking of couple news, speaking of love and love, I think that you're a stand-up great guy. I think that you are building your platform in every way, shape, or form. I think that you are doing all sorts of big things, and you have a partner out there. Do you want to?
I do.
You want to?
No, so
you want to give a message to her?
Well, we keep it kind of
Tony,
private.
do you want to? I thought you liked Timothy Chalamet. This is your moment.
No, so I will say she is wonderful. We had a great New Year's together.
I bet you better look into that camera while you say this.
I will. we had a wonderful just holiday together for New Year's, and she's wonderful. She is kicking butt in her life and doing everything right, and she's truly a wonderful partner, and I hope I can be the best partner for her. So it's just kind of, that's all for me, at our age, in our 20s, especially for them, very similar age.
Sure.
We're all just kind of building our life and trying to figure out who we want to be. When you're in your 20s, right?
Yes.
It's like banging into walls. Like you don't know what's going to
Tony
happen.
P, I know a lot about
all
that.
your insecurities, all your faults come out, and in relationships that happens too. And I think the coolest thing about the relationship that I have is that we're very, very close. We talk things out, we communicate, and we really have a good time. And she brings the best out of me, and hopefully I try to bring the best out of her. I mean, for me, I can be a pain in the butt sometimes, Chad.
Well,
so I can bring I don't drink, but I make other people drink. That's always a good thing. So, working on being a little bit less stressful for people in the new year.
I understand that. I don't need any help making me drink, but I am also a bit of a hard person to be around sometimes. So shout out to my wife, Mrs. Ricardo, for making me a better man.
No, listen, you're a wonderful guy yourself. And again, you know what? I think love is really a beautiful thing. I love how people do it on social media.
Yeah.
People do it privately. Works for me. I think it's going to be good to watch Chalamet's career because he just loves the game, and as someone who's trying to chase a dream too, I relate to that, man. I relate to that.
All right. I don't want to talk about Timothy Chalamet anymore. In fact, I want to get back to things that are going down in Northern Virginia.
Right.
A high school basketball coach reaches a landmark. We'll get to that in just a moment. First, we'll take a break. You know what I love most, Tony P?
What do you love most?
I love high school student athletes doing the best and becoming better people on the court and off the court. And you know what I appreciate the most, Tony?
What do you?
I appreciate the coaches who pour in to these high school student athletes.
Yep.
This is what makes community strong. This is what makes community better. And our very own Stephanie Ramirez had an opportunity to tap in with such a coach who just notched his 400th career victory.
Wow.
Hey, so we're here at Wakefield High School where boys basketball coach Tony Bentley right here and the team, they actually hit 400 guys on December 19th. You guys can applaud yourselves. Come on. Yes. That is a huge feat. We're here, Coach, right now. Coach, 400 wins. What does this mean to you?
It just means a lot, you know, being here for a long time and to celebrate this milestone with my former players, my former coaches, former admin, things like that. So anytime we can shine some light on Wakefield High School, I'm thankful for it.
Now, we were talking about this before. 400 is a huge win. You also have over 20 years, 2 decades under your belt, but that means you had to have some losses as well. Yeah. Do you know the number? Or tell me about any coaching fails that you might have had that you learned from that got you to this point.
Well, I remember we played in a regional championship game in 2013, and we were up by 20 going into the fourth quarter. And decisions of trying to either continue to score or save the time and try to win kind of backfired on us, and we went into overtime. We ended up losing the game, and I never ever wanted to have that feeling again for myself and for my players. So just making adjustments now when you are up, how you sustain a lead and things like that has made a big difference in my coaching career.
So that helped you learn even
definitely,
more.
definitely.
All right, so we got to get some folks in here, the players especially. Jeremiah Poole, where are you, sir? Tell me about this 400 win, what it was like celebrating that, and what it means to you.
It just means a great amount to be a part of history with our coach, and yeah.
You guys are talented, that's for sure.
Yes,
You're getting this done for the coach, right? And we have the principal here, Mr. Pete Ballas. Tell us the lesson here that is learned here for the children.
I think the lesson is being able to celebrate this man's legacy and his impact on Wakefield and the entire community. It's evident here in our students, and we are fortunate to have him part of our community.
Excellent, Principal. Thank you for having us here, Principal Ballas. Now, Coach, we're not done with you yet. Tell us about your history here. You told me you always wanted to go to Wakefield. You do have an interesting story as well as making full circle.
Yeah, well, it started off as a kid, you know, growing up a mile away from Wakefield High School. So I used to attend all the basketball games, football games, and I was excited to wear the green and white, you know, and then all of a sudden busing took place, and I had to go to a school on the north side of Arlington, which was Washington Lee at the time, Washington Liberty now. And I was upset, of course, because I wanted to be here. This is all I ever knew. And so when the opportunity came for me to get the job here at Wakefield, I applied and I got it. So definitely a full circle. And so I'm very excited to be here at Wakefield.
Excellent. And, you know, what's your tips for coaching kids in 2026? They're different kind of kids these days.
Yeah,
no TikTok for you?
Nah, no TikTok or anything like that. I do have an Instagram, but no TikTok. But these kids keep me young. This generation is totally different from when I was growing up, you know. So they keep you on your toes, and they make you laugh. They can make you cry. You know, it's just this generation. So thankful to be a part of this generation to keep me young.
Any advice for parents real quick?
Just be involved. You know, just be involved. Show up.
Not too much, though.
Not too
no
much
pressure,
with
but
these
show
kids.
up. I like that.
Yeah, just show up and be involved. Be at the games and be school nights and things like that. Just be involved in the kids' lives.
Excellent. Well, good luck to you guys. Congrats on the achievement. I say good luck because tonight you're doing what?
Tonight we have another game against Marshall High School here at home. So if you can come by at 7:30 tonight, it should be a really good game.
But also, you're trying to get 403 now because they've won a couple more times since hitting 400.
Yeah, 403. I guess I never counted, and I'm not going to count. So it's up to these guys to get the rest of the victories.
All right, you heard it. You heard it, guys. It's the very latest here from Arlington. I'll send it back to you.
Love that.
Shout out to Coach Bentley. Shout out to Stephanie Ramirez out there. Outstanding reporting again. It's for these coaches, Tony, who pour in to our youth, give them sometimes an additional parent away from the house. Sometimes the only guidance that they have comes from those athletics. I believe that is why high school athletics is so important to our youth.
Well, and we're, you know, especially we're talking about masculinity in this era. We're talking about young men not having mentors and father figures.
Sure.
Especially for men's sports, this is so important to have a coach like this that not only is an incredible winner, so that shows the consistency, the grit behind that, the hard work that he's put in as a coach to build and create, right?
That's right.
But also, I can imagine just by listening to him, the kind of leader, the kind of man that he is,
modeling
modeling the best behavior for young men, especially with these kids in high school post-COVID and technology era
That's
where
right.
all they know is social media. We have a lot of bad male influences online that are poisoning kids' minds. Coaches like this out there doing it in real life, we need more people like this. And this guy is a winner. 400 wins is truly
402
403,
right now.
402, almost 403.
402 right now.
That's how great he is. He keeps
That's
winning.
right, that's
And
right.
This is Don Shula, Bill Belichick, George Halas numbers. We're talking about more of a football reference, or like Pat Riley. This is better than Pat Riley numbers. So when you think about the impact that a guy like this is going to have, not just for how many wins he has, I hope he gets a state title this year or something like that, but just what he probably means for that high school, the community, the amount of kids he's impacted. I was home and I had a wonderful dinner with one of my favorite coaches of all time. He coached me in baseball when I first started, Coach Kevin Bradley. He actually was featured in the nightly news for NBC a while back with the national news because he battled cancer. And he was one of my biggest mentors and took care of me, believed in me, gave me the Sportsmanship Award. I don't think I deserved it, but he believed in me and always encouraged me. And I hadn't seen him in about 3 or 4 years. And we spent 4 hours together at dinner talking.
Wow.
And his journey battling cancer and kicking its butt, by the way.
Wow.
And doing so great. Love him. But his example, his kindness, his leadership, he didn't have to flaunt it. He was a tough, masculine guy.
That's right.
But he was kind, too. He was good with his players. He cared. He was emotional. He opened himself up. And I learned that. And I learned that passion from him believing in me and from him showing me the way. So I can imagine what these kids have experienced with this coach. And that just kind of gave me that flashback. So to Coach Bradley, to Coach Tony in Arlington at Wakefield High School, to all the coaches that do this type of work every single day. And you know they don't get paid at King's Ransom.
That's right.
They do well. They don't get paid at King's. Sometimes it's volunteer.
That's right.
You're making an impact every single day, from Little League to high school and beyond, because your impact goes for years.
Making those impacts.
So-
Shout out to Coach Bentley, and I have a special place in my heart for Wakefield. My little brother actually graduated from Wakefield High School.
No way.
I used to live in Arlington for some 8 years, right across from
Love
Wakefield
it.
High School.
I love
that
man.
community.
Great story. No, and they're incredible.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, like, I got to get out there and see some high school sports. For you,
Yeah,
my friend.
come on, brother.
This season
Come on.
and next season football, I got to come out and see with you.
That's where the real passion is.
It is.
So, Tony, we are going to make a bit of a odd segue here and go from a great story on high school basketball to an altercation between postal workers and dogs and residents and just about everything else in Frederick County. Our
Yikes.
Katie Barlow is going to join us and do a far better job telling this story than I did.
Well, we spoke to the dog owner who you can see in the video there, and they want to press charges against the U.S. postal worker who was involved in that altercation. We can confirm the state's attorney's office is looking into the incident. It happened here in the Amber Meadows neighborhood off of U.S. Route 15 in Frederick. And police responded to this call for a disturbance that happened last Friday, and they found that a U.S. postal mail carrier was involved. You can see the whole thing play out on tape as it was recorded from a neighbor's vantage point.
Get your butt over here, No, calm down. He won't bite. He won't bite. Hey. No, don't hit him. Don't hit him. Oh, she hit her tire. No, she didn't. Oh my gosh, why would you do that?
You can see the postal worker appears fearful of the dog running toward her. The family says the dog is a 7-month-old puppy that did not hurt or bite the postal worker. They want to press charges against her for assault. Frederick police confirmed that there was no dog bite, but that an altercation occurred between 2 adults following the incident. They notified animal control, who did not take any enforcement action because there was no dog bite. Police say USPS is handling the matter with their employee, and both parties were referred to the district court commissioner for second-degree assault.
Just letting her know, like, you know, they're friendly people. The dog's friendly. We know him. She struck me in my face, so I hit her back.
She struck you in your face?
Yeah.
Where on your face?
Like directly in my face.
And then you hit her back, and then what happened? How did the arm injury happen?
I have no idea. I've never been in a situation like this before.
The family says that the postal worker called an ambulance and then left in that ambulance on Friday. After the incident, we've reached out to the state's attorney's office for a charging decision. We've not yet heard back.
Holy smokes,
Yeah,
Tony
watch
P.
this again.
We'll watch this and talk over it as we can see, look, 7-month-old dog, you never know that a dog is a puppy. It's a big dog, it runs up on you. I can totally understand the postal worker initially being fearful.
Yeah, the fear, exactly.
One thing you don't want to do necessarily is to hit at a dog, because whether that dog was going to attack you or not, it's going to attack you after that.
Right, you're going to agitate it. Now, I'm kind of looking at this like an instant replay video in football. I'm trying to see, okay, like, who struck first, because that's a big part of this, because if it becomes a self-defense issue for the woman that was struck by the postal worker, then there's probably a legitimate case here. But, man, it looks like, so the postal worker's obviously in the coat, it looks like. And yep, so it was there comes the neighbor. Yeah, there was. There was.
The postal worker
struck first.
did.
Yeah, they did strike first.
My gosh, I did not see that.
Yeah,
thank goodness we've got instant replay there.
Right, and then at that point,
the young lady.
Yeah, she took corrective
Holy
action.
Tony P. Washington, D.C., the DMV area is known for a few things. Absolutely outstanding students. It's known for that. Also known for basketball players. But there are really good boxers in this area as well. Lamont Roach Jr. is a boxer out of Washington, D.C. Should be a champion. He's had a couple of draws. But anyway, there's a lineage of boxing. And this young lady, I don't know what she does.
That was some pretty good haymakers right there.
She hit her with a 1-2.
Right.
She hit her with a quick 1-2.
There was a couple of hooks from the postal workers, and there was...
And we're making light out of a very serious incident, and I apologize for that. But right now we're talking. She hit him with a 1-2.
Oh yeah, again, apologies. I don't want to take away the unseriousness of that for a second. But I think you're right. The two haymakers. The postal worker struck first. At that moment, it is a self-defense case, and I think
I was looking at it and I was like, man,
the dog wasn't really advancing much. It was more like, hey, get away. If that's the case, just walk around, or back up and wait for the neighbors to arrive and remove the dog.
That's right.
Because, again, this is not something where the dog is running and approaching you.
No, the dog had left the situation.
Right. It was kind of like slowly, and so, again, maybe there was another, it was triggering something maybe from the postal
And that's
worker.
what I was going to say.
Maybe
we never know what had occurred in that postal worker's life prior, or that dog may have.
Minutes before that, maybe there was something else that triggered. Again, we don't know every fact of this.
Not at all.
I don't want to make too much light, but I think it's interesting. The way that fight scene went down, that is looks like a textbook self-defense case. Now, DC, of course, is known for their boxing, but we're known for some comics in DC. Dave Chappelle being one of them. He throws some haymakers, so you know what? Just to kind of make that loop back a little bit. But no, but I think that situations like this, de-escalation is so important. Right?
De-escalation is always that's always the right thing.
And the thing is, I think sometimes we get territorial as people. We're like, oh my, we're going to escalate. Someone, is getting. They're being, violent, or if someone just feels annoyed. Oh God, this dog's over here, and I get a little bit agitated. Yeah, that little bit of agitation can lead to what we just saw in front of us. And that's the thing is, if you can, back away from the situation, take a breath. Don't try to cause chaos where it's not needed. So I think that's a big thing. And we hope that everybody's okay. That the young lady that was struck by the postal worker, hope she's okay. Hope the postal worker, if there's issues going on, hope they're okay. Yeah. And just that this gets resolved in an amicable manner.
And you know what helps everyone de-escalate, Tony?
What?
Working out. Our very own Caesar went down to the St. James in Springfield, Virginia, a place that I know very well, and he brought us this.
Yeah, the St. James is a state-of-the-art facility offering a wide range of resources so that you can reach your full potential. Well, Fox 5, Caesar Cornejo is live at their Springfield, Virginia location with a closer look for us. And Caesar, we have seen you getting your workout on this morning. So where are you taking us now within the facility?
Well, Makia, right now we are here in the more main level, right? But we're still here at the St. James, and we're going to talk about the importance of what a personal trainer can bring to you, especially as you're trying to meet those fitness goals, or if you're just looking to maybe add a little bit something extra, push yourself that extra mile, right? Well, I'm here with personal trainer Bailey, who is here to talk to us a little bit about just what the importance is of personal training and just how the St. James helps incorporate that for their members.
Yes. So when you come to the St. James, you're going to be hooked up with a personal trainer, and that's based off of an interview that you have with our sales team. They're taking you through a tour. They're getting to know you and your goals, and they're going to be like, yes, this personal trainer is for you. So you've been matched with me. I've learned a little bit about you, and now I'm going to think about a workout program that's going to really be tailored to your specific goals.
Right.
So we're going to get you back into your routine. We're going to hold you accountable to your routine and get you back to playing soccer like you want to.
Right.
So we're going to strengthen the whole body.
Look at that. So they're going to help keep me accountable, just like they help keep everybody else accountable. So I guess, Bailey, let's get right down to it. What do you have for me right here?
All right, so we're going to be doing a quick circuit. There's 5 different movements. We're going to be doing a sled pull, a sled push, a walking lunge with a curl, and then you're going to end with a squat press.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and get this started then.
Yep, you're going to get into a semi-squat position. Keep your chest up, your back straight, one hand over the other as we pull this sled to us.
All right.
Yep, perfect. Push into the floor. Nice.
Cool. So what is this working here specifically?
So we're working your biceps, we're working your back, we're working your posture. You're in a squat position, so we're holding it in the quads and the glutes.
Mm-hmm.
Good. And if you're prepping for a high rocks, this will definitely help you out.
Okay. All right. Similar to some of the courses that we saw earlier with the group class then.
Yep.
So
both hands on the sled, keep your arms in front of you, brace your core and push all the way back.
All right. And with
Come on,
this
let's go as hard as you can. There we go, right. There we go.
We're doing it as hard as we can. See, look at that.
All right, you're going to grab these weights.
All right.
So we're going to do a walking lunge. As you step, you're going to curl those weights up to the shoulder and then gather yourself in the center. Yep.
Love it. Look at Caesar out there.
Can I get invited to do that next time?
Come on.
I need it.
Give us one of those personal trainers. Shout out to Caesar. Shout out to the St. James. Not just a gym, but the pyramid of all athletic facilities.
An oasis.
Tony P, you are just the same. You are the pyramid of co-hosts. Thank you very much. And thank you all for watching. Shout out producer Jim.
Yeah, baby.
Live Zone Primetime.
Yes, sir.